What's up everyone? Welcome back to Cinema Essentials. The episode name is J-Cat, where Scofield pretends to go crazy and plans to destroy the ruined tattoos with Haywire's help by drawing in the psychiatric ward. So they gave it this name. The real slang term is also used for people who are acting crazy and wild as J-Cat. If you're ready, let's start Season 1 Episode 17. I'm the show host Theo. While building Taj Mahal, the warden comes and says it looks pretty good, asking to finish it by the anniversary. Scofield says the weight has increased due to plaster, so they need to add more supports inside. While Scofield and the warden are discussing Taj Mahal's history, the secretary opens the door saying Dr. Sarah is here to see the warden. The warden tells the guard to escort Scofield back to his cell while asking what's the matter, doctor. Sarah says it's about Scofield. His back burns are quite severe. Initially thought it was inmates fighting each other, but when carefully examining the wound, she found fabric pieces inside, and upon investigation it turned out to be pieces from guards' uniform fabric, explaining the cause. Sitting in the cell, drawing route patterns he remembers on blank paper with a pen, but none match, so he's frustrated. When Sucre asks what he's doing, he says memorizing rough patterns, things that got burned off the skin. He's been studying these patterns every single day, all possible routes to reach the infirmary. What's happening now is like taking an exam with material memorized 10 years ago. Bellic arrives, shouting PI time, so the wandering Teabag and Sucre line up to work. Seeing a young woman in G-string underwear, Sucre asks Teabag how she managed to look like that, and whether he likes those things. Teabag says, "Shut up. I admit I'm wicked, but I stay far away from stuff like that." When Sucre asks why he won't go next time, he says there's no guard uniform, so he can't cross through the yard. Even if he could cross, the underground routes are too complicated. "So don't talk to me about this, you're disrupting my thinking," he says back. Guard arrives, saying they can wrap up their work. Everything looks finished to him. C-Note, who's painting, says, "Boss, we're not done yet, still need to lay carpet." Guards say Bellic will have professionals lay the carpet in the exact style he wants. When C-Note asks when, the guard says maybe tomorrow morning. Teabag says, "That's the problem, when the carpet layers arrive, and we remove these things, that big hole will be exposed." Scofield says, "We'll cover the hole back up. Put base sheets underneath. Pour fast drying concrete on top. Tomorrow when the carpet workers come, they won't know what's underneath. The night we escape, we'll just lightly hit it with tools, and it'll break open." He says there's no time, they need to cover the hole now. Tweena reaches the office asking, "What's happening, boss?" Bellic asks if he knows the avocado. When the avocado looks at Tweena, saying he's still just a kid, Bellic kicks him out. Then asking how's the situation 911. He says it's only 411. They're not from the same group, don't know anything yet, can't even get close. PI is full of people at Scofield's, don't need me, so I don't know anything either. In the guard break room, desperately mixing concrete to cover the hole, DB Cooper comes in saying, "Emergency. Guards are coming." So they quickly cover everything with cloth and put desks on top, pretending to work hard. When Bellic arrives, saying he'll add one more person to speed up their work, he calls Tweena. C-Note and others pretend while saying their brushes have dried, can't paint with sticky stuff anymore. Teabag says according to seniority, it's Tweena's turn. Scofield says there's a water tap in the yard. Wash all the brushes clean there. Tweena says, "All right, sorry for getting caught up in the party," and leaves. At Chicago's Secret Service headquarters, they're investigating details about whoever threw the envelope at the judge. The person in that photo used to work at the company Lincoln Burroughs' father. He rebelled and left, Samantha says. Paul Kellerman asks if they selected the son of someone who used to work at the company as their target. The company's main purpose is exactly that, she replies. When Paul Kellerman asks what their objective is, Samantha says, "Your job is just to do what you're told, don't worry about the rest." While quickly pouring concrete to dry and cover the hole, another guard comes again. "What's this? Are they enjoying coming in here or something?" Scofield says while covering the hole so it can't be seen. When guard Gary arrives, saying the warden wants to see Scofield and tells others to finish work and leave together, Sucre says, "We're dead," but Scofield says, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." In solitary cell 12, An inmate named Lincoln is awakened by a guard saying the court has prepared new documents, execution confirmed in 1 week. Lincoln asks for 10 minutes in the yard, but the guard says no permission from warden, sorry, and leaves. Somewhere in Chicago, Nick Saverin, Veronica, and LJ are consulting. Someone unknown gave the judge medical records, pushing for Lincoln's execution, then immediately disappeared. Who could it be? An anti-death penalty organization? Veronica doesn't think so, and without knowing the name and background, they can't tell who it is. LJ, being young, doesn't seem satisfied with going through legal procedures. The young man wants to respond to knife with knife, violence with violence. Continuing the conversation about waiting for them to make mistakes, she says they might have already made mistakes, like someone who fell into a broken well. So they return to the house with the broken well and search, finding dead hitman Quinn in the broken well. Nick helps LJ descend into the well with rope. When LJ reaches the broken well, he takes Quinn's phone and discovers Paul Kellerman's real name written on the wall. Reaching the warden's office, the warden says, "Michael, I want you to answer honestly. When Sarah was treating you, she found guard uniform fabric pieces in your flesh. Did a guard burn you?" While asking if he wants to see him lose his job, Scofield says no, they've been very good to both brothers. But since he's not the type to tell the truth in situations like this, guards forcibly restrain Michael and send him to solitary with water and electricity. The two brothers talk through the hole in the cell, like when we were kids, poking holes in milk cups and talking with needle and thread. Lincoln, with experience, tells Michael that solitary confinement breaks your spirit, makes people paranoid. Don't fall into their trap. Stay strong. C-Note calls his lovely wife Cassie, but because he's busy at the front, it takes long to connect. He says it might take a bit longer here. Cassie says she's worried too, reading news and calling the unit asking what's happening with 117th Unit. The unit officer says about 6 more months. C-Note says that's not right, actually, they're providing military support to 140th Unit as needed, so there was misunderstanding. We'll be home soon. After the call, while C-Note continues working, Sucre arrives informing that Michael is in solitary. C-Note mutters, "Damn, one thing after another." T-Bag and DB Cooper arrive saying, "Man, this gives me a headache. That hole in the room still isn't sealed." Tomorrow 8 a.m. when carpet installation teams arrive and see the hole, we're dogs. When DB Cooper says someone has to seal that hole, C-Note says, "Right, Sucre, you're the only one who knows the route down there. Tonight when dark, you go down there and seal the hole with concrete. If you don't do it, all of us will have escape tattoos on our butts and stay inside another 15 years. Sucre says, "All right, but once I reach the guard room and seal the hole with concrete, how do I get back? I'll be stuck in that room." Everyone says after finishing everything, during guard's shift change, run to the yard hole and escape from there in one go. Sucre finally agrees. In his cell, thinking like a madman, trying to remember what he wrote when planning, taking off his shirt and planning something. When Lincoln says he can't hear him talking and asks him to speak, Michael doesn't respond. Rubbing his bald head shining like Reverend's head, he looks out at the young woman thinking something. Calling T-Bag to tell his plan, T-Bag says he won't do that. But Sucre says it's for the team. "I need to go seal that hole. I need that little thing. You have to help." T-Bag reluctantly walks behind the woman and pulls the G-string saying, "Miss, your little flowers are showing." She says, "It's not showing, it's blooming and spreading." So T-Bag says, "So I can tell you like parties." When T-Bag arrives, he gives Sucre something while threatening that if he tells others about this matter, "You know about me." Sucre just smiles. After LJ washed his hands and looked around the house, he remembered where the gun was and decided to take it. He tried to charge Quinn's phone in the car, but the charger didn't fit, so he couldn't charge it. When she asked what they should do about Quinn, Nick Saverin replied, "He's the one who shot me in the back with a gun, so we're not doing anything for him. We'll just leave him in the abandoned while Kitty and Sarah are having dinner and talking at a restaurant in the evening." Kitty says, "Sarah, you're working way too hard. Go out and have some fun." Sarah says, "I don't want to go anymore. I have bad luck with romance. I've been getting heartbroken by dating bad guys for quite a while. Even if something were to happen, my feelings are intense and I only choose people I can possess." Kitty asks, "Someone like Scofield, Sarah denies, not someone like Scofield. But Kitty says don't lie to me. Every time Scofield comes to the infirmary for injections, even rolling up his sleeves takes about 20 minutes. Sarah replies, Scofield is interesting, but he's in prison. I don't date prisoners as boyfriends. Michael tore his shirt into strips to create string-like pieces. He then arranged them on the floor in the shapes of the pathways he remembered, trying to figure them out. When nothing worked, he became angry and said he would pay with blood for the issue. He then started punching the wall repeatedly. That night, Sucre unscrews the basin and crawls through the pipes to the guard's break room. He mixes the cement and carefully seals the hole. Guard comes in after hearing a noise, and Sucre hides in a corner. After the guard leaves, Sucre crawls out, stays in the shadows, and runs toward the hole in the yard. The light from the tower shines on him, and he yells, "Don't shoot," and kneels down. When Sucre is brought to Bellic's office, Bellic says he's not easy on inmates who try to escape. He says Sucre will get 10 more years added to his sentence and then be brought back here. Sucre says he wasn't trying to escape. Bellic asks if he was just howling at the moon and gets angry, grabbing Sucre by the throat and telling him to tell the truth. Sucre says that on the way back from the yard, he didn't go into his block because he was waiting for something to be thrown over the wall for him at night, and he hid between the benches until dark. Bellic asks if it was drugs and says the last guy who tried to smuggle heroin got 10 years and ankle cuffs. Bellic tells the guard to search him. The guard finds a pink pair of underwear tucked in his pants. Sucre says his girlfriend wanted him to have it as a keepsake and that he took a risk for love. He asks Bellic if he understands, and Bellic says, "Yes, I understand," and sends Sucre to solitary confinement. Actually, those underwear were the young woman's G-string. Since Teabag had to take them, he threatens Sucre not to let anyone know about this. The fool also got embarrassed taking the woman's underwear. Sucre and Lincoln call Michael through the hole, but hearing no response, they call a guard to check Michael's cell. The guard checks with flashlight and immediately calls for medical team emergency. When Veronica and Nick go outside, LJ pretends to sleep, but quietly gets up and searches for Paul Kellerman's information on laptop. To be more certain, he calls the phone number and hears Paul Kellerman's voice. When Sarah reaches solitary cell 12, Michael has one hand covered in blood and won't respond anymore. The entire wall is covered with lines drawn in blood. When Warden and others arrive, they find Scofield lying in the cell with crazy eyes. Motionless, he's become J-Cat. Taking him to psychiatric ward, Sarah says his mental condition has deteriorated. But he hasn't gone completely insane. She asks to be notified of any special conditions. They chose Lincoln thinking he was ordinary. But now his father is involved. The company is desperately searching too. So Caroline, I've worked about 15 years for the country. Now I need to know who I'm really working for. She's told to remember he's working for her. Samantha arrives discussing House voting on environmental protection. If they vote for it, increases presidential chances in upcoming election. Company gets what it wants. Both sides win. While D.B. Cooper and C. Note work discussing Sucre's situation, Teabag arrives saying, "Good thing. If not for Sucre saving us, we'd all be finished." Tweener overhears this. When Avocado arrives asking if there's no grass or bushes in his western block, Tweener gets tense saying, "Leave me alone, man," when Bellic calls him with questions. Asked about Scofield's matter, he doesn't know exact details, but says it's related to the guard room where they worked. If they search the room, they'll probably find out. Bellic immediately goes to search the room, kicking chairs and pulling up old carpets, but finds nothing. Following the address to Paul Kellerman's house, breaking back door glass to sneak inside. Soon Paul Kellerman returns home. While checking mail, LJ aims gun at him. When Kellerman says put gun down, "You're not a killer," LJ shoots, hitting his ear. As LJ prepares to shoot again, nearby police hear gunshot and immediately surround house, telling him to drop weapon. Since all information about Scofield seems wrong, instead of feeding potato chips and soft drinks, they send Tweener to Avocado's room 88 to eat bananas. Like wrong food being harmful, poor Tweener is getting poisoned. Police arrest LJ. Searching the house, Paul Kellerman says the boy might be on drugs. "Did he say I killed his mother?" Then says that's why he shot. When police ask what work he does, He answers dried fruit distribution manager, even giving them about 10 bags saying, "Take them if you like, plenty here." Wearing white outfit, looking handsome as always, Michael meets Haywire and gently sits down saying, "Hey old cellmate, those tattoo things you mentioned were right. If you saw them again now, could you remember? Could you draw them like before?" Haywire thinks carefully and asks back, "Who are you?" Episode 17 ends there. Since we'll be presenting this series daily, one episode at a time, please like and subscribe to Cinema Essentials channel. To all our supporting audience, the Cinema Essentials family wishes you mental health and physical prosperity. Thank you everyone for watching till the end.